Does this corridor look familiar? If these yellow columns and signs ring a bell, it's probably because you once visited this airport. And if you did, you'll have to treasure it in your memory because it's living its last days. At least, supposedly. It was supposed to close at the end of 2024, but it's been given an extension until March 2025. So today, on Dream Takeoff, we visit the Jorge Chavez International Airport in Lima, Peru in its final days. Although technically the airport isn't in Lima, but in the port city of Callao. Have you ever passed through it? This airport is one of the most important in Latin America and was recognized 9 times as the best airport in South America. In fact, it had no competitor on the continent between 2009 and 2015, when it took that podium consecutively for 7 years. And it regained first place in 2019 and 2020. Moreover, today, Skytrax still considers it the 3rd best airport on the continent, only behind El Dorado of Bogotá and the Mariscal Sucre International Airport of Quito, surpassing recently expanded airports such as those of Santiago and Buenos Aires. And that's no small feat, because the airport hasn't undergone significant changes since January 2009, that is, 16 years ago. For this reason, it's already on its way out and a new terminal will replace it completely in March 2025. If you were coming directly to Peru or using it as a connection point, you always had to follow this route. If you got off the plane by stairs and took a shuttle bus, you had to come directly to this lower floor. And if you arrived by jet bridge, as we did at the beginning of the video, you had to take this hallway that circled the terminal and was separated from the outside and the boarding area by glass walls. And then you had to go down. Once on the lower floor, you had to follow this hallway until you reached the corner where they differentiated those who were going to migrations because they would enter the country from those who were going to take connecting flights. These long hallways already have some advertising that reminds you that you are arriving in Peru. But they also show another distinctive stamp of the airport. Its pedestrian conveyor belts, which were super striking to me because they weren't hard belts made up of different links, like the usual conveyor belts. These are made of continuous rubber that seems not to be attached to anything other than the tension from the ends when you get on them. I haven't seen anything similar anywhere else. It feels pretty soft to walk on this band, and I think I'll miss it at the next airport. We are going to follow the 2 people in wheelchairs who are going in the direction where the line for connecting flights begins and where there is an internal security check, which was one of the things that bothered me the most about the Lima airport because you had to take everything out again to pass it through the scanner. Then, going up to the upper floor, we arrive at the duty-free. However, this area has been recently remodeled. It shouldn't be more than 5 years old. After walking a bit, we enter the boarding area for international flights, where we can see the distinctive stamp of the Lima airport, which is yellow or mustard. You will forgive me for the lack of precision, but I don't distinguish colors well. Now there are few people because I am at a time when there are not so many international flights, but at the end of the video, we will see what happens at night and how these hallways are full. And here begins the commercial area outside the duty-free store. Through this perpendicular hallway, you could enter the VIP lounges. I always used the Sumac VIP lounge because it allowed certain categories of LATAM airline partners in addition to business and first-class passengers. I will soon upload a video of that lounge, in the same posthumous spirit. Next to it is the hammock, which allows priority pass. By the way, I was told that LATAM will have its own VIP lounge in the new airport. It was about time. These things make me a little nostalgic. I wanted to record this image where the airport map and the departing flights are because it is one of the last operating images of this place. It will probably be the last time I pass through it. Let's continue advancing to show the rest of the terminal, with this store of souvenirs, books, and magazines, which is in front of restaurants and cafes. And these stores that were located in modules within the hallway and that appeared in recent years, like this Pandora store. There is also a Hugo Boss store. A module with a bookstore. There are also typical products from Peru, such as jewelry and alpaca wool clothing. And I think this is the tech supply store where, at some point, I bought an emergency adapter. Beyond this new souvenir shop, we will find cafes and restaurants. Like this one here, and that I visited when I didn't have time to go to the VIP lounge to eat. La Nacional. On the sides, we can see the boarding gates, which from this point begin to be located on both sides of the hallway, and this conveyor belt, which says it is in maintenance. However, as things are, it may never operate again. The airport was inaugurated in 1960, when the old Lima Tambo Airport was closed, whose land is in the current district of San Isidro, and where what remains of the airport was transformed into government buildings. This new airport was initially called Lima Callao Airport, located in the port of Callao. But in 1965, it was reopened and renamed in honor of the Peruvian aviator Jorge Chavez, who was the first to cross the Alps by plane. Here, we can already see how a greater number of people are concentrating on waiting for flights. Historically, it has been the most important airport in Peru, but its relevance has been international. The main strength of this airport was unquestionably its location. It was in the middle of South America, so it easily served as a hub connecting the countries of the southern cone, such as Argentina and Chile, with the countries to the north, from Colombia and Ecuador to areas such as the Caribbean, Central America, North America, and even Europe. For this reason, it is not surprising that its main 10 international destinations were as diverse as Santiago de Chile, Madrid, Miami, Bogota, Buenos Aires, Panama City, Cancun, Mexico City, and Punta Cana. Among them, its leading international destination was Chile, which represented more than 1 million passengers a year, and the following 5 contributed more than 500,000 passengers each. But they were not the only ones. In 2023 alone, it had 45 international and 22 domestic destinations, reaching more than 21 million passengers. I don't know if you can see it, but we can see the terminal replacing the Jorge Chavez Airport on one side of the corridor. It is very close and was supposedly going to be inaugurated on December 18, 2024. However, shortly before I took this video, it was postponed to January 29, 2025, and then is currently supposed to be inaugurated on March 30th, 2025. Now, let's switch to a video I took at night. We are at the opposite end of the terminal, which I rarely saw because it was usually destined for domestic flights. The Jorge Chavez Airport has several glass screens along its hallway, which could be opened or closed to extend either the national or international area. If you remember, when we left the duty-free at the beginning of the video, there was a glass screen. Well, when that screen is closed, it gives the minimum extension to the international sector, that is, going through only what we saw at the beginning of the video. However, as more international flights arrive, those screens are opened, expanding the international zone and reducing the national zone. Thus, the intermediate zone is a kind of mixed zone, an idea that the new airport will maintain, but that is not exclusive to Peru. Before the new international terminal of the Arturo Merino Benitez Airport in Chile, that airport also had a similar mixed zone. For this reason, tonight, when there are many more international flights, we can visit this sector that was usually only available for local flights. Among the stores in this area, we can see a Brit shop store in Peru. And further on, we can see where the entrance was from the security sector. And here we see some of the screens we were talking about. Do you have any memory or anecdote of this airport? Honestly, now that I look at it, this airport has already become small and outdated, especially when I compare it with the expansions of the Bogotá, Buenos Aires, and Santiago airports. But you have to have perspective. We are talking about an airport that was last expanded 16 years ago. When I first visited, it was one of the best on the continent, and it did deserve the awards it received. Even the Sumac VIP Lounge was awarded the best in the world in 2010. At that time, it had an open-air patio for smokers, and the machine for everyone to make their orange juice by themselves was a novelty. But time took its toll, and Peru began to require a larger terminal. Well, Peru and Latin America, because we all use it, which justifies the new airport. What seemed crazy to me, especially for a Latin American country, is that the plan is to close this airport and convert it into offices or commercial spaces. Given that it is still quite functional, I would think that resources could be saved and maintained as an auxiliary terminal. However, its destiny seems to have yet to be decided. Anyway, the current Jorge Chavez International Airport played a very important role in the continent's commercial aviation. Even today, when it is old, obsolete, and trim for the demand it serves, it still holds third place in the Skytrax Awards in South America. So there is nothing left but to thank everything it gave us, the awards it received, and the times it was a connection point for my vacations and work trips. All that remains for us is to say goodbye. This will be the last time I pass through here, unless they extend its closing date again. But as a lover of flights and airports, I think we are approaching an important date. Although the Jorge Chavez International Airport will continue to be in the new terminal, we will say goodbye to this one. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next destination here on Dream Takeoff.